How did my life transform from, sure, I'll train your dog, to what I'm doing now? Put up the business cards and the flyers at the store and started getting clients. As I got more clients and I grew my skill set and I was still helping teach at the dog club, my reputation grew. I was doing privates in-home. I was doing group classes out in the city parks. I was doing very limited board and trains, and there was a private dog park in town. In Dogwood Park, I had a friend who was an instructor there, and she taught agility. And at the time, I had just got certified as a trick dog instructor. We reached out to the owner, and I am a trick dog instructor. You're not currently offering that. Would you like me to teach at the dog park? And she said, oh yeah. I started teaching at the dog park, trick classes, and then I started teaching puppy classes, but she was running into some financial issues and stopped paying her staff. Knew that there was a vet office in town. They had a big area, about 2,500 square feet, air conditioned. We are in Florida, air conditioning is nice, and that nobody was currently using it. So I stopped at that vet's office to inquire on if it would be available. And I looked at it, and there was a bathroom. We'd have access to the shared outside area. And I was interested in that. Worked out really nicely. I enjoyed having the training center. Rich was teaching with me at the time, my husband, and we were debating, what do we want to do? Do more board and trains? Do we want to do more privates, more group classes? And we started looking at buildings that would be ours. That's industrial area buildings. We didn't want industrial area buildings because to do that, we would have to, for sure, do doggy daycare. I didn't want to be there 24/7. Doggy daycare, boarding, and in Gainesville, you would have needed to have a sprinkler system put in. It would have been about $20,000. And somebody would have had to be there all the time. And I don't want to have to be there all the time. Rich and I thought about it. We figured what we wanted to do was board and train. We got to really know the dogs. We got to really work with the issues. Because during group classes, we did 4-week, 5-week, 6-week, 7-week, 8-week long group classes. We found the sweet spot was 4 weeks. But the people would come, they'd put the time in for it, and then you wouldn't see them again. And sometimes their dogs did super and we didn't need to see them again. But sometimes it wasn't enough, but we didn't have that personal connection. In our opinion, the dogs didn't do as good. During private training sessions, it's hard for owners to continue the homework when we're not there. Whereas board and train, we get to do all the reps, all the heavy lifting for the owner, and then the dog gets to benefit. The owner gets to benefit. We show the owner what to do. We'd put together videos and courses and such to help the owner out, and we found that that worked out the best. We wanted a place where we could do board and train, and we started looking for a house that we could do board and trains out of. And we're looking all over the place. We looked for close to 2 years to find the best spot. And we knew we didn't want to be in Gainesville for that. Found this place that we're in now online, and it was a little further away than what we were hoping. It was perfect. I looked at the photos and I thought, that's it. That's my house. That's where we're going to be. I knew exactly what I was going to do. All the chain link fencing was already up. So it was set up for us. I don't know what normal people would do in our house, but I know what we were going to do. We moved, but we were still going to keep our training center in Gainesville. Years had gone by. New owner wasn't as nice as the owner that we had. He was kind of a dick, and his staff was kind of dicks because, they take after their owner. Purposefully steer people away from us because they didn't want to play favorites. They didn't want to ostracize the other trainers in town who weren't renting space from him. How does that make sense? You would imagine that he would want us to be successful and he wanted to sabotage us. So we knew we wanted to get out of there, but we figured we'd keep the two for probably a year or so. We were out here in August is when we moved, when we closed on the house. When we moved, by November, we were done with the training center, and it just got to be too much of a headache and we got rid of it. That's how we got to be here and why we moved to Sumterville. But that doesn't answer our question of how did you get? Well, that's part of the question. The other question is the service dog part of it, and I'll answer that in part 2.